Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage, Dan Bongino.
What's up? How y'all doing? Well, you're welcome. Legend. Call me a legend. This speech better be really good if I'm a legend. Thank you. I was just talking on the panel. That was a killer panel backstage. And thank you in advance. I know they mentioned Parler and Rumble. I know many of you know I had a role in that, but I appreciate everyone who signed on. Screw these big tech assholes, pardon my language. We can do it too. We can do it too. Hey, before I start my speech today, forgive me, there's a lot going on, obviously, in my life. I promised Charlie I would come out, and you never want to break a promise to Charlie or Benny, and it really meant a lot to me to come out and talk to you all, because before I get started, I want to express, and I really mean this from the bottom of my heart, you know, my sincere, deep gratitude to what you're doing. It's hard to be you right now. You know, when I grew up and went to college, I got in 1992, 1993. It was never easy to be a conservative on a college campus, as you can imagine. But I can tell you with purity of soul here that it was never as hard as it is now for you. You've got a lot of guts, every one of you in this room. You do. I mean it. You have my absolute respect. I mean, to go on these college campuses now, the peer pressure to conform and be lemmings and just walk off the cliff of liberal stupidity and ignore the obvious, the pressure has to be overwhelming. And the fact that you not only flip them the double-barreled, if you watch my show, I won't use the middle finger, but you get the hint. If you flip them the double barrel and you not only speak out for what you believe in, but you show up here, you really have my admiration. I mean, what happened to the left? What happened to them? No, thank you. Well, thank you. What? Thank you. Well, thank you. Thank you. Stop! You're gonna make me cry. I got a thin skin. Don't let my 6 foot, 200-pound frame fool you. I will cry at a heart. I'm like the John Boehner of conservative Republicans. I'm not kidding. I love you too. You know, when I went to college, I used to listen to even these lefty bands, and they've abandoned us with civil liberties. They are now, you have to understand this, full-time anti-civil liberties, anti-free speech activists. They want to beat the snot out of you if you assemble with their Antifa, BLM, thugs on the street, beating the crap out of people. You go to church, they want your church banned. I mean, these are your actual God-given civil liberties. They stick a boot on it, and they do it in front of your face. They want you banned from big tech. They want you shut up. And what happened to the left? Listen, for all our disagreements with the left, when I grew up, I listened to Rage Against the Machine. It doesn't get any more lefty than those guys, Tom Morello. They're like socialists. And you know what one of their lines was? Don't ever forget this. I'll try not to curse again. I'm sorry, young kids, I'm sorry. But I come from New York. But one of the lines in one of their songs, I'll just say, it said, screw you, I won't do, but that wasn't the word they used, but I won't do what you told me. Screw you, I won't do what you told me. Screw you, I won't do what you told me. That was the left, these anti-authoritarians, and now they're the authoritarians. They want to shut you up, and you had the guts to come out here tonight. And I love you for it, every one of you. You guys are awesome. All right, now that I got that out of the way, because you really do have my admiration, you're on the right side of this. I hope you understand in this fight, when you're on these campuses, that you are absolutely 100% on the right side of this fight. Every one of you in this room is a champion of big R God-given rights for everyone out there. But listen, that's easy to say, right? Anybody can talk in flowery BS and get up here and make a nice, cute speech. But the bottom line is talking about big R God-given rights and what you represented by showing up here tonight and knowing you're on the right side of it are two different things. I want to ask you in this room, I'm not messing with you, are you absolutely convinced think about it. Don't just reflexively respond. Are you absolutely convinced that you are here for the right reasons, that economic liberty, healthcare liberty, school choice, and educational liberty, that the right to speak and the Bill of Rights, the right to assemble and practice your religion, are you absolutely convinced that's the right thing? 100%. Any objections? Raise your hand. Any objections in this room? Okay, not me either. I know I'm on the right side of this darn argument. I know it, and I've known it since I'm a kid. Think about it, right, on the economic liberty front. I don't know how many of you listen to my show ever, but thank you. Thank you. I play, I wish I had the Kenny. I should have brought the Kenny Bell, right? I play a lot of clips of the great Milton Friedman and Thomas Sowell. No one explained it better than Milton Friedman, right? Economic liberty matters, but it's not a tweet, it's not a parlay, it's not a Rumble video. Economic liberty is a real thing, man. It's got juice, it's got meat, it's got muscle behind it, and it's right. It's right for simple reasons. What the hell does the government know about spending money you worked for? Anyone? Anyone? Does anyone have an answer? How do they know more than you about that? They don't know squat. Listen, I love my Secret Service friends in the government, but a lot of the bureaucrats I ran into outside of the Secret Service were really not that bright. That's why they were in government. They'd be out doing other stuff that's value added otherwise. Some of them found a hole over there, and now they take your money, they take a cut, they spend it on other people, and they don't know anything about your wants, desires, or needs, no less those of your family. I'm telling you this because you're right. You're on these college campuses arguing against idiocy, and you're brave in doing it because there's this tidal wave of stupidity for you to support socialism, and the basic idea of it is just stupid. It's just dumb. Think about it, right? Milton Friedman, him and Sowell, I love him. He always said the 4 ways to spend money, right? You don't need to know anything else about how absurd giving your money to the government to spend on someone else is if you understand Friedman's 4 ways to spend money. It's genius. Take it, memorize it, watch it. Go to Rumble, put in a video, put Milton Friedman's 4 ways to spend money. Watch it. It's on my show last week. He says, what's the first way, right? The most efficient way to spend money. You spend your own money on yourself. Well, why is that efficient? Because cost and quality matter. It's your money. You earned it. So what you're buying matters. You care about the cost, and the quality matters too. Why? Common sense. Why does it matter? Because you're buying something for yourself. You're not going to buy garbage. That's why economic liberty works. But it's not just enough to know that economic freedom and liberty work. You have to understand why the lack of economic liberty doesn't work. What's the second way to spend money? Even worse than terrible. It's you spending your money on other people. Cost matters, you're buying someone a gift, right? But does the quality matter? What do you care? If the gift breaks in a year, it ain't your problem. So it's not as good as you spending money on yourself. What's the third way to spend money? Other people spending other people's money on themselves. Someone takes your money, you get an expense account. Does the cost matter? It ain't your money, it's yours. I want the nicest hotel room in the world if you're paying. So the quality matters, but the cost doesn't mean squat. What's the fourth and single worst way to spend money anywhere? Bingo! Other people spending other people's money on other people. The cost doesn't mean squat because it ain't your money. And the quality doesn't mean squat either because you're not even buying anything for yourself. That's the government. That's socialism in a package right there. It sucks. It'll never work because it can't work, ever. It won't work because it can't. It can't work. It defies every single human instinct you have right now. And you have to argue about it on college campuses all the time and in your high schools. You got a lot of guts doing it. You do. because you know by instinct, by common sense, and because you're smarter than your leftist friends who've never had to have a real argument in their lives, you know you're right. But think about that argument with healthcare liberty too. These are real things, man. Again, you got to put meat on the bone. It's not just, healthcare liberty, great, let's write a few tweets. No, what does that really mean? Why would you think that most of Americans, if you asked them a poll, right, and you said to them, do you enjoy going to the Department of Motor Vehicles? What would you guess somewhere in the neighborhood of 90% of people be like, that really sucks? Would that be, I wouldn't be a crazy statement, right? So why? I gotta be honest, my Department of Vehicle in my county, we got a pretty good local government. They're not bad. I don't love the experience, but it's not terrible. But why does it stink so bad? Because it's, again, other people spending other people's money on employees working for other people. So just to be clear with healthcare liberty and why this matters and why economic freedom, economic liberty and healthcare liberty, why you're on the right side of this matters in these fights going forward. You don't like going to the DMV, but you're A-okay with paying some government bureaucrat to crack your chest open? Don't give me my license, but definitely clear up this cardiac event I'm happening. Like, in what world does that make sense? Yes, brother, it doesn't. It never made sense. But it's not just that, again, like, this is the critical part. It's not just what I said to you about economic liberty, that capitalism, freedom, and economic liberty is good. You have to understand why the other options really suck. It's not that they don't work, it's that they genuinely harm people. You ask UK doctors, right? United Kingdom, where they have the NHS, the National Health Service, a single-payer behemoth where the government runs everything. You ask UK doctors, how many of them know a patient that's died on a waiting list due to ration care? Not a joke, I'm not making this up. I never make stuff up. 5% of them will openly admit to it and tell you yes. That's the ones that admit to it. So just to be clear what we're saying here, in a government rationed healthcare system, because you can only ration or price something, right? Anyone have a third way to allocate scarce resources? And you win the Nobel Prize for economics. You can either price the speaker or ration it. What's the other way? There isn't another way. You can either ration healthcare or you can price it. When you ration it, 5 out of 100 doctors in the UK admit to knowing a man or woman that's dead because of their rationing. And we're supposed to applaud this? And with these kids on these college campuses who don't understand any better, and in high school you have to argue with them every day, and the answer is yes, you have to. Yes, and it really stinks. I get it. I understand. I get the nasty grams myself. But like I said to you when I opened up, it was never as bad as it is now. You got a lot of guts. I want to go one more here about liberty and choices and freedom. These are real things, man. They bleed. They're real. They're touchable, feelable things. They're not just some esoteric idea. School choice. You know, guys, ladies, I was a product of de facto school choice. I grew up in I don't want to say the roughest part of town, but it wasn't the best. The local school by me was PS 68 in Queens, New York. It was a hellhole. It just was. My mom had no money. She worked the checkout counter at the local finest supermarket, which was next door to my house. We lived above a bar in a 2-bedroom apartment for, 6 or 7 of us, depending on who was living with us. The local Catholic school took us in as kind of a charity case. We paid the tuition when we could. When we couldn't, they, let us get to it when we got to it. It was called St. Pancras. School's closed now, sadly, but I'm telling you, with, again, purity of heart here, I would not be in front of you speaking in coherent sentences right now. My life would be totally different if it wasn't for that Catholic school. So, it's true. It's true. So now when you're on campus and you're in high school, and you're out there and you're arguing with your friends and you're questioning for a moment, is this fight worth it? I want you to think for a second. Take a breather, because I know it's tough. You have my respect for doing it. I can't say that enough. But I want you to ask, who's really fighting for our black and brown sisters and brothers out there? Let me throw you a statistic. Don't ever forget it. We're the ones fighting for them. Us, not the left. They're not doing squat. Matter of fact, they're hurting them. Hurting them. These are our American citizens. They are entitled to the same American dream that got you in this seat right here, the exact same one. Jason Riley wrote this piece in the Wall Street Journal. I read this when I was running for office years ago, and I never forgot it. This number is staggering, that there are 20,000 public high schools in the country. Just 2,000 of those 20,000 produce half of our dropouts. Think about that. Just 2,000 of the schools produce 50% of the dropouts. If you're black, you have a 50% chance of going to one of those schools. That's unforgivable. That's not hyperbolically unforgivable. That is literally unforgivable. You're telling me that the color of your skin has already predetermined in many cases, because no one will fight for your educational opportunity outside of the conservative libertarian right, that the predetermined path of your life, that you have to overcome thousands more obstacles than all of us because someone just won't let you go to a good school? Don't ever for a second, when you waver and you're thinking, is this liberty fight worth it? Am I on the right side of this fight? Don't you ever forget that number. Those are our brothers and sisters. We are on the side of God-given rights. God-given big R rights for everyone, no matter your religion, your race, your sex, your sexual orientation, whatever you want to call it. We are on your side. That is our fight. That's not their fight. They're full of shit. That's not their fight. They are full of it. That's our fight. Every single person in this room, you and you're the ones fighting for that. That's not them. They're full of crap. You think they don't know that number? You think they don't know that statistic? You think they can't Google that or whatever, put it out in the search engine tomorrow and read that? They know what I told you is exactly true, and you know what? They don't care. It's us who care. It's us who care. They want to exchange big R, God-given rights for political rights. Political rights that don't exist. Those political rights create obligations on others. God-given rights are different. Folks, you're in this fight. Listen, I've been through a lot lately. It's been a tough time for me. Most of you know I was diagnosed with cancer recently. It really sucked, to say the least. It wasn't the best day of my life. But it's one of the reasons I came out today, and I wanted to thank you all. Things look different when you get news like that. I know a lot of you in this room, sadly, have been touched by it. Family members, sadly, some of you here yourselves. Thankfully, it's treatable, and I think I'll be okay. I'm about a month into treatment now. But thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. I do appreciate it. I haven't missed the show yet, so because I feel like if you're going to do this, I literally have not missed the show yet. If you watch my show, literally is the word I literally hate the most, but that's not figurative. I had this thing cut out of my neck, and we did the show that day. So I had a big 7-centimeter tumor cut out of my neck, and my syndicator was like, "You sure you don't want to take a day off?" I said, "Screw that. We're going back to work." There's no days off. Days off my ass. We got to get to work. But I will say this, and thank God we live in a system that still has some free market health care. Thank God. Really, best doctors in the world. But you start to see things different. I think a lot of you will relate to this. Before I understood what type of cancer it was, you start to think the worst. Is it pancreatic? Which is never good. And we were driving home from New York, and I hadn't been diagnosed yet because they didn't get the tumor results back. And I'm with my wife in the car, I live down here in Florida, and you see things different. You think like when you're 46 like me, you're gonna grow old with the trees and everything. I know it sounds weird, but there's an expiration date on your life, but nobody here knows what it is. When you think you know what it is, believe me, stuff looks really different. You start to see like this little area near my house I knew they were gonna cut down to put like a strip mall or something, and I'd always figured I'd see that. And before I knew what kind of cancer it was, I thought, gosh, like I'm not really attached to that anymore. Your relationship with time is different. I bring that up because it's not some sob story. God has blessed me with so much, and you all have obstacles much greater than mine. God has blessed me with so much. I could die tomorrow a happy man. I mean that. But I will say this. The scare it gave me, your most valuable gift you've been given by anyone, outside of life, your life in general, by the God our Creator, is time. Don't screw it up. You all are young. You have the opportunity to go out there and collect vast troves of opportunities. You collected an opportunity by coming here. The book, The Black Swan, one of the best pieces of advice you'll ever read is collect opportunities, but don't chase trains. Collect every opportunity you can to meet someone, to talk to someone, to seed an idea, to go take an extra class, to read an extra book. Don't waste a moment of your time. You have an expiration date. And one of these days you'll have to come to reckon with that. Don't think because you're young that you can waste the time now. You can't. You're the warriors on the front lines of liberty. You have a fire in your heart so much greater than some of your fellow students out there who don't get that fight because you chose to do something and collect opportunities. But don't chase trains either. Meaning the train gets there at 8 and you got there at 8:01, then damn it, that's your fault and you screwed up. If you're chasing the train, you screwed up. You're in college, you committed to something. Did you not? There's no bailing out. Don't chase that train. The college train you signed up for came at 8 o'clock. Get on the damn train. And you don't get off until the last stop. Time is your most valuable gift. Don't waste a second of it. I'll leave you with this thought. Listen, it's been a rough couple months for all of us, all right? This isn't the time for whining. You want to whine, go somewhere else. That's not this room, but go join the left. They love that. They have focus groups for that. No wine, yeah, that's right. There's no whining. This is the no wine club. This is the no whining. There's no griping, there's no whining, there's no crying. We took a little bit on the chin. There's still some fights going on. I'm not conceding anything, and next week doesn't look good either, personally. I'm not conceding jack squat. You got excited about that. But no matter what happens, it doesn't change a damn thing. This is not a golf game, okay? It's not golf. You know how golf works? Golf, you go to the golf course, you do your thing, whatever. You quit in the middle of the match, nobody cares. Guy gets the green fees, the dude behind you plays through. No one cares. Have a good day. This is not that. I love this guy. This is a boxing match with no time limits and no referee. If you say, it didn't work out like we planned, I'm going to take a year off and I'm going to quit, the other dude is still kicking your ass. There's no stopping him. This is not golf. There's no quitting. He's still hitting you. Do you understand? They don't stop. They don't stop, ever. They will never stop. You have to leave here and remember what I told you from that crazy lefty Rage Against the Machine band when they used to be on the side of anti-authoritarianism. Screw you, I won't do what you told me. Whatever the left wants you to do, don't do it. Talk out, speak out. They don't want you to show up at things like that, show up. They don't want you to vote, vote. They want you to be kicked off Twitter, go on to Parler and double down. They want you to stop talking about politics on campus, talk about it 24 hours a day. Screw you, I won't do what you told me, ever. I won't do what you told me. We will disobey and we will fight for liberty no matter what. I will be there with you in that fight to the end. You've got a heart of stone. I love you all. Thank you for your time. I really appreciate it. Thank you.